He was an opera fanatic and he hated rock and roll. Naturally, his son loved it. And that's just part of the story. Conrad Adams was from a military family and served in the British and Canadian military. His son Bryan was born in Canada, but when he was 6, the family started to move around a lot. Israel, Portugal, Austria. Now, if you think Major Dad is strict, you should have seen life at the Adams house. Bryan was sent to rigid private schools, and he and his dad could barely agree on anything. For a long time, Bryan had some sour memories of growing up, but now he says there were a lot of great times too, and we are father and son, and he had to run the house the way he saw fit. But he got a lot of opposition from me. When Bryan was 12, his parents separated, and he went to live with his mom, Jane, and Jane let him listen and then play his rock and roll. He and his dad didn't see each other for more than 10 years. Bryan told Rolling Stone, "We weren't very good friends for a long time until my 20s. Now we're closer than we've ever been. But that doesn't exactly make Dad a fan." Bryan says, "He's never said he actually likes my music. I don't think he can grasp it. It's just too hard for him, you know? Hey, it's not opera. I'm sorry." But how sorry can he be? His song recently spent 7 weeks at number 1. Now at number 13, this is Bryan Adams. He's not only a rock singer, songwriter, and guitar player, he's also a producer. Back in the spring, he produced some songs for our Rock and Roll Hall of Famer from the 60s, Dion. Bryan Adams says Dion is the epitome of Bronx soul, and it was a thrill to produce him. Bryan's here at number 20 with his current hit. It's called Can't Stop This Thing We Started.
Number 14.
Climbing 2 notches is Bryan Adams, the winner of 3 Juno Awards this year. They're the Canadian equivalent of America's Grammys. Bryan was voted Producer of the Year and Entertainer of the Year, and he won a Special Achievement Juno for the international success of his smash Everything I Do It For You. Here's Bryan Adams with his latest hit, Thought I'd Died and Gone to Heaven.
Casey's Top 40.
Casey's Top 40 is heard in the 50 states and around the world every week on great radio stations like 95.1 WAPE, The Big Ape, today's best music, Jacksonville, Florida. Iowa's best FM, 101.7 KAYL, Storm Lake, Iowa. Music Radio, KQ105, Paris, Tennessee. And B96, Barquisimeto, Venezuela. Well, now we're up to The Only Thing That Looks Good on Me Is You. It's by a Canadian rock star whose father disapproved of his career in rock and roll until his son sent him a funny cartoon. Over the years, Bryan Adams' relationship with his dad has been a bit, standoffish. According to Bryan, his father was a strict disciplinarian. Bryan's dad had grown up in a military family, and he tried to pass on the strictness of his upbringing to his own children. Bryan spent a lot of his youth revolting against his father, and one of their biggest problems was their very different musical tastes. Bryan's father loved opera. Bryan loved rock and roll. And when Bryan decided to spend his life playing rock and roll, a chill developed between him and his dad, and it lasted for many years. But recently, Bryan noticed a cartoon in the New Yorker magazine. It showed a father and son having a chat. The father is in a big armchair, and the son is sitting on a stool by his side. And the father says, "You know, son, I know you've been thinking of this law thing, but why don't you try rock and roll for a few years?" Well, Bryan got a laugh out of that cartoon, and he sent it to his dad. And wouldn't you know it, that gesture put a smile on his dad's face, and it broke the ice that's existed between them for so long. Since Bryan sent his father that cartoon, they've been speaking to each other a lot more. And Bryan even has hopes of someday getting his father to come to one of his shows. If Dad does come, he's liable to hear Bryan Adams sing this song, a track from Bryan's new CD, 18 Till I Die. This is The Only Thing That Looks Good on Me Is You.
Casey's Top 40.
I'm Casey Kasem. These are the week's biggest hits from 40 to number 1, and we're counting them down. Falling 4 notches to number 31 is singer-songwriter Bryan Adams. Bryan says when it comes to writing songs, he's, quote, better in collaboration. I'm a team player, a good striker, a person to bounce ideas off, unquote. Here's a song Bryan collaborated on with longtime producer Robert J. Lang. Let's Make a Night to Remember.
Counting down the hits with Casey Kasem.
American Top 40's heard coast to coast and around the world every week on great radio stations like 101 WIXX, your number 1 hit music station, Green Bay, Fox Cities, Wisconsin. WBTI 96.9, the station that picks you up and makes you feel good. Port Huron, Michigan, Sarnia, Ontario. And My 94.1, my 80s, my 90s, my music. KMYI-FM, San Diego, California. Well, now we're up to the song Heaven, the remake of a Bryan Adams hit that Bryan was so impressed by, he's hired the man who did it to do work on more of his songs. It was back in 1985 that Bryan Adams hit big with his song titled Heaven, but it still probably came as a surprise to Bryan that 17 years after the song was a hit, the Spanish techno producer named DJ Sammy would want to redo it. DJ Sammy says he's been obsessed with the song ever since he heard Bryan perform it live 3 years ago in Poland. After he finished his remake, DJ Sammy sent it to Bryan. Bryan loved what DJ had done and suggested they work together. Their first project is a remix of a song Bryan wrote and recorded for the animated feature Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron, the song I Will Always Return. DJ Sammy says, quote, he gave me confidence and he gave me power. We're working together on it step by step. This week, the remake that started this relationship between the Spanish producer and the Canadian rocker is at number 23 on American Top 40. Here are DJ Sammy and Yanu featuring Doe on the Bryan Adams song Heaven. That's Doe providing vocals on the DJ Sammy and Yanu smash Heaven.